landing.
Oh man, son of a... Keith here with Alien Drones with a quick tutorial on how to hand catch and launch your drone. Sometimes the environment doesn't really allow you to do a good ground takeoff or land. Sometimes in the water if you're moving, sometimes there's just debris in the ground or tall grass, things like that. So first thing I'm going to do here, since I have this in my hand, is we're going to do a hand launch. Now I have the Mavic Pro here, which is a little bigger body than like the Mavic Mini, for instance, or even the Mavic Air. But you want to make sure when you hold this thing getting ready for the launch or for land, that you kind of make sure you have your arm extended out a little bit, make sure it's away from your face, and make sure it's level or tilted slightly away from you. You don't want to point it towards your face, of course. When it tries to take off, it's going to try to stabilize and come towards your face. Not cool. Same thing with the land. You want to make sure you have your arm extended as well. Of course, you don't want your fingers or thumbs getting up caught in the propellers here. So try to keep your fingers down a little bit here. And also, make sure it's not super windy out. I've got a little bit of breeze, feels good because it's kind of hot out here today. But make sure it's not super windy because these are trying to stabilize themselves. And of course, if it's really windy, the wind as it's trying to stabilize or come down or take off might kind of veer towards you. And again, we don't want that to happen. You want to be very careful with this. If at all you're a new beginner or you're not comfortable with this and you're kind of in a rush, take your time and practice this in an area that's going to give you the time to do it safely. You do not want to do this if you're not comfortable with it. So take some time, practice a little bit, pay attention, because nobody wants to get hurt. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is going to do a hand launch. And we're going to do an auto takeoff. And when we do the auto takeoff, it's a little tricky to do with one hand. So whatever your primary operating hand is, in this case I'm right-handed, I want to use that to control the remote when I'm launching. And I'll explain that in just a minute. So I'm going to launch with my left hand, being my right hand is my primary hand for control. So what I'm going to do is, it's asking me about taking off, and I need to slide the slider to actually take off. So before I do that, I'm going to get ready, be facing the direction I want to, make sure I'm level. Again, I don't have it cupped, I have just my fingers around it a little bit below the sideline. And I'm going to slide the slider to the right. Now if you have the Mini, for instance, with its new app, you're just going to press and hold the button. So I usually just put the remote against my side like this. Now I have good control. I'm going to get all lined up so I can keep my eye on the drone while I'm taking off. And I'm going to slide to take off. That's all there is to it. So of course when you take off, especially if you're using the auto takeoff, you want to make sure there's not something directly above you because it's going to go up and continue to rise even if you're not pushing on the sticks. So be careful with that you have a clear passageway before you take off. So we're just going to come down and do the hand catch, and the wind is blowing up here a little bit, so that's a good trial. So we're just going to come down, we're going to pull the stick down towards us. And now because my main hand, my prime hand is my right, I'm going to catch that with my main hand so that I'm comfortable with it. So we're going to bring it down so it's close in front of us. And then I'm going to let it kind of down into my hand. So once it gets a little closer, it might be hard to hear with the props making the noise right here, but I'll do my best. So we're going to bring it down into the range here. So now what we're going to do that it's this close is we're going to put our hand below it, because if you just go right now to grab it, which I see a lot of people do, you're going to notice that the sensors are going to kick in and it's going to push this away from us. I did not touch the sticks, but it pushed away. So if I go ahead and put my hand here again, you're going to see that it's going to go ahead and take off because the obstacle avoidance is going to keep us from landing. So what you want to do is bring it down somewhat close. Then you're going to put your hand in, underneath it so that it senses your hand as the ground. All right? Then once it senses your hand, you will be able to override it. So what you're going to do is simply pull down on the stick and down it comes, and it drops into my hand. I'm not forcing it, I'm not grabbing it out of the air. I kind of laugh when I see people that go ahead and grab it and it's trying to stabilize and fight, and they'll turn it on its side, and that's tough on the motors. You can do that in the emergency. If you needed to snatch it out of the air, it's really windy, things like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to repeat that bad behavior. So that's how we do the takeoff and landing. What I'm going to do is do it one more time, just so you can kind of get a feel for it. I'm going to kind of prop it up against me so I can make sure I do this. I'm going to put my hand out, reach away from my face a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to slide to take off. And it's that simple. Now to land, I'm going to do my opposite hand, and I'm going to hold down on the stick. I'm going to get it a little closer to me. You're going to let the sensor get acclimated to your hand. Then you're going to go ahead and pull the stick down so that it lands in your hand. Again, shuts off. Not going to do anything, grab it, pull it out of the air, or anything like that. When I first started doing this, I didn't know how that it was done, and I thought I would share it with you guys. First few times I tried to snatch it out of the air, for instance, it probably looked like me fighting an angry swarm of bees because it was fighting them and I was holding on the stick the whole time. I didn't even know to turn it on its side if I had to. So this is a much more elegant. People will be impressed once you get this down. So again, be very careful. You've got these spinning propellers. You don't want to get that anywhere near your body. So again, practice this and practice safety. And with that, I appreciate you guys watching. If you found anything of value today, please hit the like and subscribe. If you hit the subscribe, make sure you hit the notify bell. That'll let you know if there's any future content that might be of interest to you. So with that, thanks again, guys, and good flying. And that's how it's done.